Criterion and Variant Dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is it's we're doing the Criterion Dungeon, which is the harder version. And it's 3 extremely tough boss fights and 2 really tough waves of enemies, back to back to back to back. And
Well, sweet.
just cleared
That sounds challenging.
It is. And you get a so it's like it's a 4-man as opposed to the rest of the game, which is like 8-man. So yeah, that's what I was doing.
It's been a while since I've played 14.
You get a throne when you clear it as a mount.
When you clear it as a mount?
No, when you clear it, you get a throne mount. Sorry, I can't spot. Talking hard.
Yeah.
But there's a throne that you can get.
Alright, get on my shoulders. We can do this.
Okay, actually, there's a mod that when you activate it, can let you sit on other characters' shoulders. It's hilarious.
That's pretty cool.
So since my character is like the tiny Lalafell, I can just use the mod to sit on my friend's shoulders.
Can you do the thing with General Guy and Lalafell Girl where she sits on his fucking arm like a parrot?
I think that there's a mod for that.
Oh my god. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff out there. One of them is to take one mount and turn it into into just riding on the back of one of the antagonists of the game. Like I don't know, they're like freaking. It looks like the Hasselhoff thing from SpongeBob. We're just riding on their back. It's fun.
Man, I was trying to find a picture of it and I can't. Would probably have helped to know the names of the characters, but I don't, so oh well.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I can farm that content since I cleared it and make tons of money selling the stuff from it because nobody runs it because it's hard.
Yeah. This is a very chill opening for the podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
Aren't they usually?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I was super exhausted last night. I fell asleep at 7 p.m. last night.
Wow.
Yeah. We had a baby shower for my sister.
Oh, yeah.
Which my mom has been stressing out about this for like the past 2 months, ever since we decided to do it. And it's been just absolute chaos.
Hopefully it all came together nicely.
It did. We prepared for like 50 people in one house. 15 people canceled the day of, which was
Jesus.
good. So there was still like 30 people in this one house, and chairs everywhere. So much food. An entire dessert table set up with brownies and blue M&Ms and blue sour gummies and blue chocolates wrapped in chocolates wrapped in blue wrappings of different shapes and sizes. And we had a catering place come out with some Italian food. And it was a whole ordeal. Had to drop my dog off at a friend's house so that she didn't just melt into a puddle of piss.
Gross.
Yeah. But like there was some people brought their kids, so I took them into the game room and I introduced them to the wonders of the little arcade cabinet that we have that has a bunch of retro games. I introduced this boy to Rampage and Joust. And you take a kid who's only played Fortnite and put Rampage in front of him, and he will be enthralled. Punch
That's
building.
that's weird. Like you
It's
wouldn't think that. Like Rampage isn't in that sweet spot of like retro stylistic. It's retro as in fucking retro. It's an old ass game.
but you
And
punch buildings and they explode and go down.
yeah, but that's the thing. He plays Fortnite, which is the game where you build a bunch of shit and other people try and knock it down so that they can kill you. So it's surprising that that still resonates, even when there are very, very clearly superior options that they have already played. Like, you would almost think it'd be a case of that fucking Back to the Future 2 bit where it's like, you have to use your hands? That's a baby's toy kind of thing.
Well, I think you have kids so used to games overstimulating the heck out of them that just doing a simple yes, I just push button and break thing with joystick and like buttons, and I don't know. I feel like it's a rare experience that they don't get to have. You know?
Hmm. No, I wouldn't know, actually, and that's why it's interesting. Anyway, you were talking, it just kind of stopped.
Yeah. Sorry. I was in the middle of a of a 14 thing, and I joined, left the call over there to come over here, and I am about to die. So I had to just focus for a second. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I am
that's okay.
distracted.
I'm actually curious if, given a chance, retro games like that would resonate with people these days. People who haven't played them at all.
I think so. Honestly, I've heard stories of people who like um, introduce like their child to a retro game, and they just like it just hits them in a way that they're not used to. You know?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing though. I can understand that for like retro games of, let's say, the SNES era, where it's sort of a lot of stuff was locked down and the styles made sense in, like, the capabilities were still not very high, but they learned how to get the most mileage out of what they had, to the point where even now a lot of that stuff it still resonates, and to the point where modern game design apes a lot of that stuff. You get so many pixel art games and that sort of thing, and platformers and top-down RPGs and all that kind of thing that completely copies the retro style of that particular era. Not so much for things from like NES and PlayStation, like either side of that era, because that's either on either side it's a little bit too raw. Like the NES era is very raw and stripped down and basic. Like, to look at it, it looks more like looking up blocks than looking at characters, for example. And then on the other side, you've got the PlayStation era where it's all just polygons, and it's harder to get immersed in what it is, having experienced what is well beyond those capabilities. Like the PlayStation style of that era has just been, that's what we've been working with since then, and it's just been refined and refined and refined until we've got what we've got now. So it's sort of like there's a delineation point between retro era that ends with the SNES and then modern-ish era, which comes from the PlayStation forward. So I can absolutely understand people like of any age just sort of getting the SNES stuff, because that's been refined to the point of, I hesitate to call perfection, but it was refined as far as people were going to refine it in the time they had before things changed dramatically. And
It
yeah,
when I was a kid, um, I played some really terrible games and enjoyed the heck out of them that I cannot go back and play now because they were just so bad.
Hmm.
Like kids have a different tolerance for that, you know?
Yeah, like kids have a lot more patience. Ironically, like you don't think of kids as having patience because you think hyperactive little shits that are bouncing off the walls all the time. But patience in when they're interested in something, they will continue to be interested in it long after an adult would have gotten frustrated and just done something more interesting.
Yeah, like I step away from Rampage and the kid's still playing it and having the time of his life and just engrossed in it.
Mm.
Even though nothing really interesting is happening, it's loading stage after stage of breaking buildings and in the same sort of background.
Yeah, I mean, like
But yeah.
I remember similar circumstances. Like I wish I remember the name of the game, but it was like some skater dude uh, got lost on a like ancient undiscovered island that's got ruins and shit on it, and he rides around on his fucking skateboard on some levels. It was a Genesis game, and that game was ass. Like that was not a good game, but I stuck with it far beyond what was reasonable, if perhaps by abusing some cheat codes, but granted. And then you've got things like Bubsy. Like I will go to bat for the original Bubsy game
Yeah.
because I played that shit and I enjoyed it, and part of the appeal was how stupid and busted and infuriating it was. Like it's kind of the Nintendo hard thing, but every failure felt like entertainment in itself. Like, oh shit, I fucked that up and I had no way of knowing it was going to fuck up that way, but it was still funny to see it happen.
Yeah. It's why like whenever people are remaking things, they're never remaking them 100% the way they were because they were the way they were was frustrating. You just didn't mind as much when you were a kid.
Hmm.
So you always want to make things the way people remember them, not the way they actually were. Because if you do it too accurate, then it's like,
If you go too accurate, you get stuff like "I want to be the guy" or
mm-hmm.
uh, what was it, Cat Mario, something like that. And
Kaizo Mario.
yeah, and I suppose Super Meat Boy would also be in that sort of variety of, hey, this is kind of unfair. We made it slightly less annoying, but it's still exactly as unfair.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that
I don't,
sort of thing still exists, but it's very niche.
I don't think I've gone back and played games from an era that I didn't already play.
Mm.
So I go into it understanding the controls are going to be ass. There's going to be some weird gameplay stuff. So I don't know.
You'd probably have to pay me to go back and play NES games, like that.
Yeah, that's the thing is like you have like even with the Nintendo Switch, here's the virtual console or the games online, which are the old retro games. It's like I don't recognize this game. I'm going to have a hard time actually playing through this because I have more tolerance for something that I've already had built up that tolerance for that I remember with the nostalgia filter.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing though. You'd have to pay me to go back to play NES games. I have on many occasions happily gone back to play SNES games.
Yeah, SNES are way more refined.
Yeah. So.
But NES games are always like.
And to be clear, because I didn't actually mention that I was a Genesis kid. I didn't have a SNES. I didn't play any of those games when they came out, but they are still good and refined enough that even to modern standards, like compared to the indie games that don't have the budget to do the modern thing, they will go back to doing that style, and they end up being very similar levels of experiences. So that stuff still works, even in the modern day. Even if you don't have any nostalgia for those games because you never played them, still very playable, still very enjoyable.
Like I'll always say that Chrono Trigger is still just as good.
Oh yeah,
God,
I mean Turn-based
Like that
RPGs
game,
have a little more longevity for that
that
reason.
game, yeah,
Yeah.
great. But if you try to go back to the original Castlevania on on like the NES, you are going to suffer.
Oh yeah, that's a bad time. That's a time
Because
where you have to learn the idiosyncrasies of how you can game the game design.
mm-hmm.
Like,
It's kind of like if a kid today were to try to play Resident Evil with tank controls, it's a skill set that you don't even have anymore.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the had fun with that and introducing kid. Eventually, though, it ended up just being the kid asked permission to play Dead Space, and I'm like, you're like 8, but okay.
Yeah, kids gonna have nightmares, but whatever.
The dad said yes, and sat and watched him play it for a bit. And I'm like, well, I'm not the parent here.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
And then it got passed around with people going up there and being like, wow, these graphics, I didn't know video game graphics were so good these days on the PS5 remake of Dead Space. I'm like, yeah, no, it's really good. Here's my PS5 pitch as to why it's good. I hate small talk. I hate it. I hate it so much.
It can be bad, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's only really bad when you just keep failing to find a common interest, and it's just bad.
Yeah, up until the video game stuff came out, I was like, well, I don't know what to talk about here at all.
Yep.
So what else you got up
This
to?
feels reminiscent, in fact. I can say.
I'm trying not to interrupt, but it's just causing silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Zero is
I'm
very
fine,
distracted doing stuff and things, I guess.
Yeah, no, okay. I apologize. So basically, I was playing more FF14. I'm done with the Sonic DLC, so like, not touching that anytime soon again. And Baby Shower went off pretty successfully. We are not putting away any of these decorations for a long time because there's so much. There's so much.
Oh, okay.
There's so much. There were like $300 worth of balloons.
Jesus.
Wow.
So much. Renting tables and chairs and never again. But yeah, no, like that's basically my entire week was getting ready for all this crap.
Yeah, fair. How was your week, Casey? Would you like me to go, or
I wrote a lot, I guess. If Patient was here, I might be able to commiserate with him over chapter lengths. And also kind of call him a little bit of a crazy person.
How long are their chapters recently?
I think it was it Friday? I think it was Friday. No, it might have been Saturday. It doesn't fucking matter. I posted a quest update and it was 24,500 words.
Oh my gosh, are you
Jesus.
kidding?
Yeah.
Was that all commissioned, or was that personal writing?
No, that was fun.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was over a month of work. So,
Yeah.
among other projects and everything, obviously. So, yeah. Wouldn't recommend it.
Was it well received? How is it?
Yeah, it
Going well?
It was well received. It was good stuff. But that's I'm glad that there won't be a call for me to do that more than once every like God, 20 chapters probably, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a thing. I'm glad it's kind of been hanging over my head since I started writing it. So I am very glad that it is done, and I can move on to. I can stop thinking about it rather because I've got to wait for votes to come in, so I don't even have to think about it anymore for a while. So yeah, I'm quite happy about that. And I can focus on the commission that I have to do that is still late.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
The life of a commissioned writer.
yeah, I mean, in fairness, this is a commission where I write and then they pay and then I show them the chapter. So it's not like I'm putting someone out for something they've already paid for. Like they don't pay me a cent until the work is actually done and I'm ready to send it to them. Which is not something I recommend for people when they're just starting commissioning. To be clear, like that is a really bad idea unless you absolutely trust the person that is commissioning you because they've already proven that they are willing to pay up.
Have anybody ever gypped you?
No. For this exact reason. I know to get the money up front before I even start. My policy is
sense.
either half up front for a big commission or the full amount, whichever they prefer. But for smaller ones where it's just like one chapter, I will usually give them a chance of like, okay, I can write a chapter and then, like I say, whether they pay me or not, they don't see it until they pay me. So,
Yeah.
I can write the chapter and say like, okay, the chapter is done. Money, please. And then they can see it after they pay me.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, worst case scenario, there's just a bunch of things that nobody gets to see.
Yep. If they don't pay me, then it just goes away. That is just how that works. And then I don't deal with them ever again.
Yeah.
So,
do you have like a file or a folder of stories that are like that, or has that not happened? So there's no reason for it.
It's not happened yet.
Ah.
I do expect it will happen eventually, but at this point, I've got a few commissioners that I deal with on a fairly regular basis, and that is pretty much it. And they have all proven to be very trustworthy. So.
And an artist friend of mine has, or not artist, well, artist too, but a writing friend of mine as well has a similar thing. Like he has, I don't know, half a dozen to a dozen people that he regularly gets commissions from.
Yeah. So, aside from that, let's go back in time to back when we said, aside from that, every 30 seconds.
Never.
Maybe? Never. What did I do aside from that? So, Zero, you watch VTubers, so you've probably seen this fucking stupid game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Didn't even have to say the name of it, did I? Just
the one they're all
game.
obsessed with recently.
Mm-hmm. It's a good game.
You've been playing.
I haven't played the legit version.
I have no idea.
It is... the version they are playing is called... they call it Suika Game. It's Japanese, so I don't know whether that is the 100% accurate title, but it is called Suika Game or Watermelon Game. There is no English version. There are a lot of similar games that are out there, but this is a Japanese Switch-only game currently. That you can get through some shenanigans, but I'm not going to fucking do that. So I played a couple of the rip-off versions, and it's fun. I would like to play the legit version because it looks better, and from what I have seen and what I have played, it plays better as well. So that would be one to wait for when it comes onto English Switch or onto PC. For fuck's sake, it's such a simple game. Just put it on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is pretty. I have watched several hours of people playing this game. It is weirdly soothing, except when Fuomoko, the dogs
Yeah.
YouTubers. Yeah, they are anxiety personified. It is stressful watching them play that fucking game.
Why? What did they do?
I don't know. They everything is the most important thing to them that happens. So they are very energetic and panicky the whole time that they play, and it is infectious. It's a good time. I recommend watching people play it as much as I recommend actually playing it yourself when it comes out properly.
Fuamoko is always such a really fun duo, but like they are like high energy.
Oh yeah, it always catches me off guard when they do the sync thing.
They are real life twins.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a link for any of this, by the way? Because I'm really curious now.
I could probably hang on. Is this? Oh my god! I literally have a fucking stream archive from Fumoco that I was gonna watch later. It was literally I pulled up the Chrome page and it's just fucking right there in front of me. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so that's going there now, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a good time. Just watching that. It is very. Yeah. I between bouts of writing, I have been very, very strongly staring at the Cyberpunk 2077 listing on my Steam games list. Not playing it, just staring at the names, like right there. There it is.
In the distance, glowing.
What's
Yellow.
drawing you towards it so strongly?
I want to play the fucking game. That's what's drawing it towards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done a lot to improve it, I believe, right?
Yeah. Over the course of multiple years, they have released many patches, and people are saying, "Oh, now it's fixed." It was fixed fucking months ago. The 1.6 fixed basically everything, but they've redesigned a bunch of things now as well. Yeah, and the DLC has come out, which people are raving over. So naturally, I would very much like to play it. But you know, I seem to have lost my ability to drop everything I'm doing and just start playing a video game. It is somewhat frustrating. I will look at a game and be like, I should probably close Chrome to start playing this. Wonder what's going on YouTube right now.
Oh, that's been me so much. So I'm like, oh man, I have, and like my recent obsession thing is, I'm like hyperfixated on FF14 right now. But even then, it's just like I want to play other games, but you know, I've already paid for this one.
Yeah.
The only reason why I've been obsessed with it is they dropped a new patch very recently.
I totally missed that Phoenix thing, by the way, but I don't care. So
yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Like it would. I probably wouldn't want to get it anyway, because it would feel weird, like just getting my second mount and that it's the ultimate Phoenix that you transform into rather than ride. That feels a little much to get at level 20 something. So
It's
that's kind of extreme.
Yeah, it doesn't even show up until after you finish A Realm Reborn in it shows up in the raids afterwards. Like the direct the raids that are kind of the sequel / closing story to some things.
I think I know what you're talking about, so yeah.
Yeah. The stuff that would be like the patch quests, essentially. And like if you want the really cool, crazy Phoenix, it's called the Phoenix. That you get, and so much later, it's like a triple-headed crazy red and black phoenix.
Okay, I get the name now.
Yeah, because and then you have the firebird, which looks like a traditional phoenix. So that's so many phoenixes in the game already.
And I guess it's Final Fantasy. They can't have dragons everywhere.
They do have dragons
They do
everywhere.
have dragons. Like, the plot of
I mean, it won't mean
A Realm
anything.
Reborn is based around a giant dragon attack that happened a while ago, and Heavensward is literally all about dragons attacking.
Oh, well, damn.
The fourth the fourth expansion, Shadowbringers, has the mount reward for each one of the extreme trials that you clear is a different designed dragon with different music that plays when you ride it. And so that's like 6 or 7 dragons, and on top of that, if you get all of the dragons, you get a giant mecha dragon.
There are a lot of dragons in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yes.
Apparently,
It's
more
kind
than
of
I thought.
theme. Including the Dragoon class, which is literally all about hunting dragons.
The
They have a class that is specialized in killing dragons.
the most recent
Oh.
the most recent expansion is like, hey, here's the things you get for all these are lynxes. Cool. What do you get for when you get all the lynxes? Oh, it's Bahamut, classic Bahamut, but he's holding a chair and you're riding in it.
Bahamut with the steel chair, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, he's just holding a chair and you just sit in it.
That is basically
carries
the
you
fucking Flames of Truth trailer, to be honest. Is Bahamut with the steel chair.
Yeah. But that's about it for like, I mean, well, actually, no, there's one more. There's so many dragons. Hold on. I have to check my list.
Keep a list.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got. Okay, I don't even have all the dragons, but like, there's more dragons. So many dragons. This. 1 dragon, 2 dragon, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dragons, and the one that I don't have, which is the PvP dragon that I missed out on.
Is it like gone forever or like?
The way they're working it, they haven't brought it back yet, but they plan on bringing back like previous series rewards as stuff you can buy with the currency you get from PvP.
Oh, okay.
But that
Gotta
has
make
yet
that
to
PvP
happen.
worth.
Right now, the PvP reward is you clear to rank 25, you get the Fierce Tyrant armor, which is super, super sick. But it requires rank 25, which is a lot of PvP. And that armor is not tied to any class. You can wear it regardless of your class. So it's just pure fashion. Do you want fashion? Go do it. Go to the war.
I mean, that's fine. I'm okay with cosmetics.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like the second they drop that marketplace essentially for PvP, it's either best to get on it immediately or hold off for a bit because prices are probably going to be a little wonky.
Well, it's all just tied to trophy crystals, which you get from just ranking up in PvP.
Oh, okay.
So that's perfectly fine. And they just dropped a whole new bunch of PvP gear with trophy crystals that's very modern looking. Freaking sunglasses and a freaking microphone attached to like them. It's I gotta show you at some point. But it is very modern looking, and that's just forever.
I should play more. Oh well.
If you want to, you don't have to feel pressured into it.
Yeah, A Realm Reborn is still slow, so I understand.
I will play it when I feel like I have time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a joke in there that Zero didn't catch.
Yeah, you don't have time ever.
Yeah, no.
You'll never feel like you have time.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing that happens. In vaguely related news, if you squint and decided to make several logical leaps, Epic Games is kind of shitting the bed a little bit.
What did they do?
Yeah. What's going on with them?
You know how Fortnite makes all the money?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, they kind of expected that to keep happening.
that's silly.
Why?
Because business, that's just how business go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Line goes up, it keeps going up. Oh shit, the line stopped going up. What do we do? What do we do? Ah, how
Time
could
to
we possibly have
panic.
predicted this would happen?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So now they have a little bit of a problem on their hands, and all those things that kind of sucked and everyone knew they sucked and kind of hoping it would just go away might actually have to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of hope they do. I hope the Epic Games Store fails so Squeenix will put fucking Kingdom Hearts on Steam. But you know, that's the connection that I was talking about. There is a connection if you really push it. It is that Squeenix put their games on the Epic Games Store instead of a real platform. Like, fuck, put it on Microsoft Game Store or something, for fuck's sake. If anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
No, honestly, freaking the entire Epic Games Store, the fact that it's lived this long upsets me.
Have they put any effort into making it a better store?
The bare minimum. It seems a little generous.
Great.
Yeah. It vaguely exists as a functional storefront at this point.
It
I
has a
was
shopping
baffled
cart
at
now.
that.
Yes, it has a shopping cart now. I think that
Oh,
update came
finally.
in.
Yeah.
I think it was 2021. I'd have to double check.
Okay, that was the one that always stood out the most to me. Is that it didn't have a cart feature. Like what?
Add a shopping cart.
How else will I make bad decisions by buying 8 games at once if I have to buy them all individually and think about it?
So Fortnite's not making enough money anymore. Is that it?
December 9th, 2021 was when they added a shopping cart to the Epic Games Store. Reminder that the Epic Games Store launched in 2018.
Yeah, 3 years took them to get a shopping cart in there.
Wow. Yeah, that is a thing you don't particularly live down as a store. Just in general, like you go to a supermarket and you're like, where's the shopping trolley? Where's, like, do you have baskets or anything? And they're like, no, you just, I mean, you've got arms, haven't you? You can just carry things. God.
When you want
Entitled
an
much.
item, bring it up one at a time, buy it, bring it to your car, and then if you want more stuff, do it again.
Yeah, there's a good reason they got shit over that. But yeah, I don't know, maybe if they invested some of those Fortnite bucks into actually making that decent, then maybe they would actually be competing against Steam and would not be in the shithole that they're in right now. But, you know.
I think they were using that money buying exclusives. They were burning money there for a while.
Yeah, buying exclusives and licensed characters to include in Fortnite.
You can't forget that.
The fact that you can have Goku and Thanos fighting in Fortnite.
Yeah.
That's the dream right there.
Woo. Like, man, we can shit on Epic Games a lot, but Fortnite was apparently actually fun. I would never play it because I don't like that genre, but it was actually a really good game is what I've heard from everyone that actually played it.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah,
I
can understand them riding that high for a long time, but you gotta prepare for when the hype train derails, because it always will. Like, they should have seen what happened to Fall Guys and been like, okay, maybe we need to plan ahead a little bit for. Yeah. Because you never know when the audience is just gonna, like, get bored and walk away. That's kind of the weird thing about this. Live service games, that's always an inevitability. It's gonna happen one day. And, if you're not prepared for it, it's gonna go badly. But, oh well. That's all I got, though. Sorry?
Still think about how WoW's whole thing for the longest time was, oh, new MMO competition, time to drop an expansion right now and steal as many concepts as we can.
I mean, was it though? Like, drop an expansion right now? Yes, absolutely. That is totally what they did. Steal as many concepts as we can?
Not before the game, but after the game, if it was good.
Like, they still don't steal all of the things that make Final Fantasy better than it.
Yeah.
Like, it has been 2 years since the WoW community as a whole went, hey, wait, this whole Sprout thing, that is actually really sensible. We like that. That would be really cool to have in WoW. If you're in a raid, you don't have to redo the entire fucking dungeon to get to the raid. You can just fight the raid boss again. That is really nice and saves a lot of time. That would be really nice to be able to do. Yeah. Oh, you don't need a specific class of character to always be in the raid party to make sure that they can help you skip a bunch of the content. That would be really nice to have. Like, all of these things that WoW could just do and didn't over 2 years.
This is the thing where, like, 14 has had situations in which certain classes were just not good and just weren't used at all. And so they made a point to be like, no, we're going to retool the class, retool this, so that we can actually have people play the class they want. Which, ends up with a side effect of sometimes the class that you've been so used to playing just plays completely differently one expansion to the next. Like, I know Summoner went from being the most complicated class to Lego pieces. You push the color buttons as they pop up. So people were upset about that.
Is that actually a bad thing, though? I mean, yeah, I guess
don't think so.
People will be mad about change, whether it's good or bad. Like,
the game was fair. Like, the class was unwieldy and extremely hard to approach. And now, like, anybody can play it, and so people are like, "Well, I just spent all that time learning it," and it's like, well, yeah, and nobody was playing this class. You were one of the very few.
I guess people would take pride in that. I can see it from both sides, but that's still kind of sad.
Yeah, my understanding is at this point, Black Mage is still the only really, really challenging class to play that they're not going to fix to be easier. That seems to be the way things are going.
The thing is, so the way Black Mage works is they have a thing called ley lines, which when they set down, as long as they stand in the same spot, all their attacks come out like 17.5% faster. And that's very important when you are a caster that casts big booms constantly.
And can be a problem when a lot of the features of raid bosses is don't stand in these particular spots. Because if one overlaps with another, hard decisions have to be made.
Yeah, if you stand in this spot, you will take a lot of damage, if not just die outright or wipe the entire party. So then it's just a thing of like, well, if you're going to play Black Mage, you have to know the fights extremely well so that you know when to use your ley lines and where you can stand. So it's just hard to approach because it requires a lot of like knowledge.
Is the damage output worth it? I mean, that's a lot of time investment.
It's the most. It has the potential to be the most damaging class in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, I feel that's earned.
So
it is the
high damage,
risk,
but
high strategy, high reward kind of character.
I can't stand playing it because I hate standing still.
I mean, you play ninja, so that makes sense.
Yes, I played the fastest, freaking most intense burst at the beginning. Because I want speed.
You want Naruto run everywhere.
You see, here's the thing. Yes, you Naruto run everywhere with every other race except the short race Lawful, because they just stick their hands out, so it looks like they're running like an airplane.
Incredible.
They don't have the bones to full Naruto run, I guess.
They Klee run instead.
Yes, they clean
God.
run instead,
Oh my God.
and that's acceptable to me.
Yeah, like fair enough. That is adorable. It's
like,
it's the weird dichotomy of Lalafell are adorable in every sense, but also somehow a lot of them are the most heinous characters in the story.
they're capitalists, all of them. Yeah, no, that some of the most evil characters and most intimidating characters are the tiniest ones.
Lalafell with a beard still weirds me out, I'm gonna say. That's just odd to look at.
There's in like the later expansion Shadowbringers, there's like an ultra world version of Lawfells that are just dwarves, and they all have like helmets with beards attached to them that hides their faces. And makes them look almost like freaking was the little guys in Star Wars with the hats and the glowy eyes? Jawas. They look like Jawas, but with like beards.
Is that what the little dude in the Heavenswood trailer is?
No, that doesn't get introduced until much later.
Okay, I just remember the little dude with the helmet that covers his eyes, and he's got the little 3-pronged beard, and it's weird.
No, that dude is that dude, bad dude. Yeah, no, he's the villain Lalafells. They're like 3 feet tall at their highest, but they control all the money. So what are you gonna do?
Be an omnicrafter.
Yeah,
How the turns table. Anyway,
When you make all the tables, you can actually reach the table.
that's true. Like they have specifically a Lalafell chair. It's like a high chair just for
Yeah,
Lalafell.
I've seen it. I remember the backlash from that too.
And the Lalafell step stool, which you have to use for your character to reach some things, like in lore technically, but not because everybody just runs by the same physics. You don't have to, but yeah.
that game is great, and I wish I felt like I had more time to play it. Anyway, Slicer, how's it going? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. So I put it in my 2 weeks last Thursday. Not a couple days ago, like a week and a half ago. One of the newer managers, who was going to be my direct boss once he got more settled in, flagged me down and was like, "Hey, let's talk this over." And so we talked at the end of that Thursday. Or no, wait, no. He made a schedule for the Monday after, because he was going to be gone that Friday, which is the next day. We had that meeting. I'm like, "Hey, production has gone up 100%, and my wage has not gone up at all. So if you want to retain me, I need more money." I come to later find out at the Friday of that week, so yesterday, or 2 days ago rather, they'd already fired me, essentially. The termination process was started on that Thursday, so that talk was pointless.
Oh, cool.
So, yep. So my last day was going to be in a couple days on Thursday, and I just said fuck it and left on Friday. I'm not going back. That's some bullshit.
I mean, if they fired you...
I was still an employee there. They just started the termination process, which can apparently not be reversed, because he's like, if you want a raise, you have to reapply for this job and go through the hiring process again.
okay, cool, never mind then, I guess, kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, fuck that. I have a couple of friends who've already offered me jobs several times over, so I'm not worried. I'm more annoyed that I got dicked over like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just spent that entire week like not trying to bug that boss because he's already overworked the second he showed up, and some kind of heads up of like, yeah, that's not happening. Would have been nice.
Hmm.
Oh well.
Please pay me more. Get hired again. What?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. I can take heart in the fact that there was mandatory overtime, and I was the only one who in my team who agreed to do it in a team of 3 people. So, and my other 2 coworkers are already at the end of their rope of giving a shit. So, here's to hoping they just cannot do overtime on Saturdays. That would be
Okay.
nice.
I'm not sure the relevance considering you don't even work there anymore.
Yeah, I just want them to fail.
Oh,
Not
okay.
my old coworkers; they were nice, but like the business, it was terrible. It deserves to stop not be in business anymore. As in, like, if we didn't sell exclusively to China, I don't think that company would be FDA approved.
Ah.
Yeah.
Fair
So
enough then.
that was the last part of my week. The first part started great though. An old coworker of mine from Iowa randomly texted me and was like, "Hey, I have Baldur's Gate 3, and me and my daughter are playing it, and we're having a lot of fun with it. Would you like to play?" And turns out that game is a lot more fun when you play with other people. Also, it's a lot more fun when you play as a barbarian and can just hit things really hard.
Mm-hmm. Barbarian's so fun.
I don't have to worry about like complex spells or strategy when I just have all of the health and I can throw things 1,000 feet.
And people.
And people. It's very fun to throw goblins at other goblins.
Get enlarge cast on yourself. Throw more people.
I hadn't even thought about that. That's a great idea, actually.
You can throw people who are one size smaller than you. So with enlarge, you become a large-sized creature. So you could throw medium-sized creatures, which are every person.
Pretty much most things.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds fun as hell. I think my old coworker went War Cleric, and his daughter went, I think, Bard? No, it was one level of Fighter, and then Wizard from then on. I guess Fighter for the Charisma. I mean, not Charisma. Constitution proficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So, understandable. We played for a couple hours, and it was just a blast. We absolutely played a chaotic evil murder hobo party.
See, that's always fun when you're just like hey, let's just do a little bit of murder hoboing, and you just like with friends. There's no consequences. There's no DM here.
Yeah,
It's just go crazy.
It was really funny because we tried to go evil with one of the characters, and they were like on our side, and then a big thing happened, and an emotional moment happened, and I guess my coworker's daughter fumbled the charisma check, and then they betrayed us. So instead of going evil, we went just chaotic murdered hobo. Because in the end, every faction was dead.
That's a valid way to play it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. If we had gotten the drop on them, it would have been a master play. But nope, we just were too hard to kill. So I had a great time with that. We're probably going to play again, I think Tuesday? Because I think he said he was busy on Monday. But yeah, soon. So that's going to be great. One of the free games this month for PlayStation Network was also a game called Weird West. I'm not sure if either of you have played that.
I've heard of it, but I've not actually played it.
I am familiar with the concept.
Yeah. It's, if either of you remember that old Critical Role one shot they did that turned out to be, I think, a 3-shot. That took place in the Wild Wild West with warlocks and magic and such. It's basically that.
You mean the Wild West, not the Wild Wild West. That's Will Smith.
Yeah.
Wild Wild West.
Look, that was one of the first movies I saw. I can't get it out of my head.
That's West, Jim West,
That's
Desperado. I don't know the rest of the
locked
lyrics.
locked into my vocabulary. So
no,
I am
it's-
enjoying that game, but man, it's rough.
Yeah, it's the I only know the concept from Deadlands, which is like the tabletop RPG of like it's an alternate version of the Wild West where things went a bit skewiff and the natives did not like that they were being massacred and did some stuff that brought demons into the world to kill all the people that were killing them. And as a result of this, the Civil War went very differently or something.
Okay.
And so it's still going on by the time the game is set. And yeah, you've got priests who can actually do priestly things and cast magic from the Bible. Yeah, I watched the Puffin Forest video on that. It was a thing. I don't really know how different Weird West is to that, though. I don't think it's licensed from Deadlands. I mean, you played
I'm
it, so
not
I'm
sure.
kind of prompting there.
Sorry. I so far I haven't gotten. There are no hints of that. There's nothing like Civil War related. It's purely just like a corner of, I'm presuming Nevada,
Well,
some desert location.
it wasn't about the Civil War. It was more that the Civil War didn't really end, and there was the Confederacy just kind of continued to exist into the 20th century.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't
I
like that.
do think it's separate from that. It's just entirely focused on. Let's see. There are wanderers, which are essentially occultists using body modification, blood magic, things like that. Then some faction of, I forget what they're called, Onirons or something like that, that use like more divine magics, and yeah, them using magic at all, either of those factions has kind of caused the world to get a little fucky. So yeah, sometimes you run across things like, here's a wagon that fell off the side of the road, and now it's a ghost wagon full of vampires or
Oh,
ghosts
that's
or
fun.
spirits or things like that.
Or vampire ghost spirits.
Yes, or all of them. Or there's an urban legend that if you wrap someone in pigskin and half bury them in the desert, they come back as a pig creature, and that is absolutely true. And you fight them, and they have cleavers, and they're very durable. So yeah, it's if you have a place, I think it's on PS4 and PS5. So if you have either of those, it's a free game this month. It's very fun.
Oh, awesome.
There's a little bit of Dead Rising style panic in some of the objectives where they're time based, and you do have to move across the map. Like I keep mixing games here, but Fallout 1 and 2, where you kind of move across the overworld.
Mm-hmm.
So time does tick down until you get a horse, and then things don't really matter anymore because you're just moving so fast. But yeah, so if that stresses you out, maybe a little lighter on that, but that might bother you a little bit, but still good. Oh, right. The last thing I saw Beetlejuice for the first time.
Oh, for the first
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those classic movies I've never seen. I was -4 when it came out, so yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Beetlejuice was a huge creepy predator.
He's a weirdo.
Yeah,
He's a weirdo.
that was an uncomfortable movie to watch by today's standards.
I haven't watched that film since I think I don't even remember anything from it. I know I watched it because my sister wanted to watch it
Yeah.
at one point, but
I know I watched it, and I know I saw part of the play once.
Is the play different? Is he less of a fucking creep?
I can't tell you that. I don't remember. It got overridden by Sweeney Todd, which I like much more.
That's fair. So yeah, that was an illuminating watch because I guess in modern culture, Beetlejuice is more of a scoundrel, like a dastardly kind of fun
Yeah.
scoundrel
Yeah,
type.
goofball, wacky cartoon character type thing.
Yeah, in the movie, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna marry that 17-year-old and touch and grab this other lady just all the time and kiss. Don't
Well,
forget that."
that's the 80s.
Yeah, yeah. So I look forward to watching other classic horror movies because that's kind of a soft goal for this month is to watch up some old horror movies.
It was fair.
Let's see how they hold up.
I watched the old like 1930s Dracula.
Oh wow.
It's black and white, and if you want to see a good old fashioned plastic bat on a string being hung out the window, they got it.
Mm. So I say you should watch Nightmare on Elm Street 3. 3 specifically.
Why is that? When is it good? Or like
I've not actually seen one of those movies before.
From someone who has recently watched it, which is not me, by the way, just to be clear. The first one is not very good. I remember it being okay, but as a schlocky horror movie. The second one is supposedly better. The third one is embarrassing. On, like, every level. Conceptually, it's good. Execution is hilarious. The premise being, like, everyone knows what Freddy Krueger is, right? It's just like the dude that kills you in your dreams. Cool? Cool. In the third one, someone has the bright idea of, okay, he attacks people in dreams, so what if we try to figure out lucid dreaming so we have as much control over the dream as he does?
Oh my god, the subtitle is
no.
Dream Warriors. It's Nightmare. Oh
No.
god.
No. Oh dear.
Yep.
Oh.
It's a special experience.
It's on Max. That's all it's on. And Philo. I don't know what the fuck Philo is.
The fuck is Philo?
I don't know. I guess it's on YouTube Prime. I have that. I think. But yeah, I can't wait to watch this. I don't even know how to describe that. Is that a train wreck or is that a good thing? Or is it both?
Is
That sounds lovely.
yeah, it's a special time.
Every
That is one for snacks and friends to enjoy together. Is what that one is.
makes me think of the freaking I saw a YouTube video by Johnny the guy who does the good VA stuff where it's reading the like Saw quotes from like the incorrect Saw quotes and stuff. It's just like, little Jimmy, you need to go potty really badly, but your mother's not here, and then you left your Legos all over the floor. It's just like, I don't know. I like when horror stuff goes too far in this silly direction. So that sounds like fun.
Yeah. Like, oh god. Memories unlocked of watching Jason X. I think it was Jason X. That's the one where he goes to space.
What?
Yep.
Yep.
That was a thing.
What?
He goes to space. Like, I think it was something like he gets cryogenically frozen, as does, I think, one of his attempted victims. And they both get unfrozen, and then it's a madcap chase of trying to escape Jason as he kills his way through a space station or something like that. And at one point, they trap him in a hologram of being on, I think, is it Camp Crystal Lake? Is that the one from Jason movies, or is that something else? I don't know. But it's a camp, and there are two, let's call them comely co-eds, who are just sort of out there laying in the grass naked. And so he traps them in their sleeping bags and beats one of them with the other one inside the sleeping bags. And
that's I'm sorry, just the mental image I have is hilarious.
yeah, the real thing is too, like, it's weird when these horror schlock series just get far enough away from like the first one where they had an idea and wanted to execute on it, and it's just like, okay, we're doing this shit again. What are we doing? Like, just, and they just start doing goofy shit, whether intentionally or not. It's really weird.
That's some real Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century energy. Just, we're gonna take this character and just put them far in the future and see what happens.
Yeah.
I still think of how different our future is compared to the future showed of 2020 and Back to the Future 2. There's my hover bike.
Different.
My hover skateboard.
Hoverboards
hoverboard.
exist.
Yeah, but they're not that cool.
Neither were the hoverboards in 2015.
Yeah. Where's my sky car?
That also is a thing that could exist but doesn't, because holy shit, people are not ready to have that.
Give me sky car crashes.
Yes, that is the reason we don't have those.
Sky drinking and driving.
And you use your hands, that's a baby's toy thing is actually, you know, the Kinect existed for a time.
Yep. It sure did. And now it's like there's VR stuff that works with a similar sort of technology. Can't speak to whether it's good or not.
It's getting there. Kind of. Still too expensive for anyone to actually care about it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, Lisa?
Nope, that's it. I believe that's everything I've done this week.
I think I'm going to watch Nightmare Before Christmas again this Halloween.
Yeah?
Yeah. That film's still
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. May or may not actually stock up on sweets, because that seems like a bad idea health-wise, just as a not quite 35-year-old man who maybe has some trouble with blood pressure and sugar intake and many other things. I'm getting old, and it's sad.
Yeah.
We have a ton of candy, way too much candy. So much candy. Because we were really decorating everything with candy and putting more candy and a huge dessert table, which barely anybody touched.
You would think
gosh,
with like
candy.
half dozen kids around.
There weren't half a dozen. There were like 3.
Oh.
Oh, really? I thought you said like everyone brought their kids.
No, people were going to bring their kids.
And then
everybody did not.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fair. Honestly, a baby shower is not really a party for kids, just in general.
There was a baby there. Somebody brought their baby.
Baby is appropriate. Kids are not appropriate.
Yeah. I bought my sister a high chair that also can transform into a toddler chair that also can transform into a booster chair. It's 3-in-1.
Oh.
Isn't that thing like $500?
It was like $100.
Oh, that's not too bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
There
asked
was
for it
a,
and put it on a list, so I bought it.
There was some deep dive into some YouTuber I saw a little like yesterday that was talking about someone putting one of those on their wish list just for their fans to buy for their kid, and then they complained that it was the wrong color or something like that. So
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh.
yeah, a very entitled person.
It's the wrong color. Shut up.
Well, I mean, depending on what that particular person is about for their online persona, that might just be a power play of just like, hey, you did this super cool thing for me. Oh, you didn't get it quite right. Oh, this sucks. And then like, step on me more, queen, kind of thing. You know, that is a thing that exists.
Yeah. So, does anyone have anything else or anything happen this week, just in general in the world? It's worth talking about.
I mean, the only other thing is like I didn't really talk much about the actual patch content, but with the 14 stuff. But
There are
I actually
dungeons
looked at
and raids.
they added new raids and stuff and a new boss that's super fun. There's still people. I looked more into the people who are like actively complaining and saying like FF14 is dying, and it is such a small. It's a minority of the players, to be honest.
From what I've seen, it's mostly WoW refugees.
Yeah, and like there's complaints about there being a lack of like mid-core content because they had basically areas that you could kind of explore, like Eureka and Bosja in past expansions, but they didn't do that in this expansion because they were focused on you know,
Story
adding
content.
new things like the island sanctuary, making the huge story work, fixing up all of the old content so that you can now single player the entire game. You know, and fixing up old dungeons and everything. Like the resource allocation was just like we want to make it a very complete experience.
And
Being
guess
able
what
to
the
just...
next expansion is all about? Holy fucking dude, it's all about exploration of this new world kind of thing.
Yeah, all this new stuff. We're going to a new continent, you know, and they want to bring back like some of that mid-core content that they were missing. They've already addressed that, but people just are like, "There's nothing to do in this video game. I already did all the hardest content there is." It's like, congratulations. Take a break.
play another
You played
game.
the game. Good job. Like, look, what do you want from us?
They were complaining that the grind to get the relic weapons was reduced.
What?
And yeah, instead of having to spend dozens of hours grinding to get your glowy weapon, you can now just buy it with the tombstones you get from doing your roulettes and your dailies and, you know, playing the game actively.
How dare you not waste my time? I don't.
Yeah,
What?
rather than running
know-
highly specific content hundreds of times. Yes.
You know what's frustrating about that? The same WoW refugees were praising 14 for not wasting their time when they transferred over.
Yeah. And
How the turns table.
it's that, and also like the game hit a huge, like, I mean, such a huge level of like culmination and climax of story that they have to bring the scale back down a bit, and people are not enjoying it. Like, oh, it's boring now. It's like, no, it's telling a good story. It's a short, small story, but I'm sorry, it's you have to bring the scale back down after what just happened. Like, without going into any spoilers, like, you literally, like, you can see it in the Endwalker Trail. You end up on the moon. You know,
go to
you
the
go to space.
moon.
Yeah, you go to space. You fight like super like end game JRPG bosses, like back to back to back to back to back. And then we're gonna bring the scope back down a bit, just a bit, because we can't really one up what we did exactly right away. I'm like, that's fair. You kind of have to, for the sake of the story.
Hmm.
You can't just constantly one up.
Yeah.
And
Like,
so now you have to
yeah.
set stuff up.
Everything I hear about WoW makes me say viscerally, yeah.
Hmm. But I'm enjoying my time with the game. It's going to be a while until they have the next big expansion that's coming out next year. So
Yeah. Like, from what I understand of what's happening in WoW's plot right now, they are in, like, multiversal gods territory kind of shit. Like, we're talking the Endless from DC.
yeah, to address, I guess, briefly the scope of where 14 goes. Um, you go to essentially was I'm not sure if it's like the edge of the known universe, but it's about as far out in space as you can go and fight literally the embodiment of the concept of despair of fallen worlds.
That's some
And like
Persona shit.
yeah, you go super super like JRPG end game stuff. So you can't keep going one upping that.
Now we have the despair of all the worlds that didn't get destroyed.
And they,
Ooh.
they they literally wrote themselves an out, which is that basically it's a different power system that you made use of to defeat that,
Hmm.
which I can't speak about in detail, but you can bring it back down a bit.
Just- there's nothing wrong as long as they're done well. There's nothing wrong with breather episodes.
Yeah,
That's fine.
introducing a new character, telling that character's story, and setting stuff up because they constantly set stuff up in patch quests for future expansions. But a lot of people who are just new to the game have not experienced that. Like the stuff in Shadowbringers was set up in the like heavens. I think it's like the post Heaven's Word patch quests, and so they saved that for like 2 expansions. But what you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's a dead game. Still the most popular MMO.
Is it still the most popular? I thought WoW never technically lost its crown.
I'm not 100% sure actually, to be honest. I remember hearing it was, but I'm not sure. I'd have to check the stats.
If they did, I can't imagine they lost it for very long.
Uh, Here we go. MMO populations. Those aren't MMOs. Here we go. Those aren't MMOs. What the fuck are you doing? What is this list? There is fucking Baldur's Gate 3 on here. What is that?
It's a major, massively multiplayer online game.
Right. Okay. So looking at that, this isn't even sorted by whatever. Currently, there are active players. There are 1.6 million players playing old school RuneScape. 1.32 million players playing Final Fantasy XIV, and 1.23 million players playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
And
they're close.
1.12 million players playing World of Warcraft Classic. So if you want to combine those, I guess then it's still the top. But that feels like cheating.
Well, I can, what, if people want to grind, I highly recommend go play RuneScape.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
Jesus,
old school
yeah.
RuneScape. Jesus fucking Christ! Like that's a grind. Chop down
Like
trees for
that's.
10 hours, you fucking loser.
For 2
Uh,
levels.
have you ever? This is a YouTube channel I follow called Settled, and he does a tile man challenge of RuneScape, where every like 1,000 EXP he can move 1 tile, and so he unlocks tiles bit by bit, and like he'll like start like anyway. So I started by grinding for like this only took a moderate like 30 hours for this thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You've sunk hundreds of hours
I'd rather be
doing Monday
bored.
tests. honestly. Like, I getting an actual view of the scale of like the grinding and that just makes me want to like cease cease existing, melt into mud.
Yeah, touch grass. Like,
Yeah.
actually just go outside, roll around in the grass and like the bugs and all that shit. And it's just like, wow, I have spiders crawling over my shins. This is still more fun than old school RuneScape.
uh, I was just reminded, the new Fate Samurai Remnant game came out.
Yeah, that came out. People like it. It's kind of uh hmm.
I've heard good things.
It's not quite Muso, but it's vaguely like Muso.
I'm gonna be picking up this week. Give it a look. But I've only heard good things about it.
Hmm.
One of my friends was like, I remembered I liked Fate. I just don't like FGO. And I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. The series isn't just a gotcha. It is more.
Still waiting for the Fate Extra remake.
Keep
More
waiting.
people should play that. Yeah, I know. I'm waiting. I'm gonna keep waiting.
Is it is it a possible thing that's going to happen or wishful thinking?
They've already shown footage of it. It's just been a while since they've talked about it.
Ah,
Like, I think it's probably, I think it's next year. They're looking at releasing it. Which Fate Extra has the sad reality of being a PSP game.
It's a weird thing because Fate is, I mean, obviously, it is a globally popular franchise, but they don't really treat it like it is.
Yeah,
There is so much shit in the Fate universe that just does not get translated, ever.
they are translating the Tsukihime remake
Mm.
that's coming to the West. But yeah, no, original Fate Stay Night visual novel, hard to get, really hard to get. Rialto Nua, hard to get. The sequel you can't get. Like, there's a fan patch, translation patch, for Hollow Ataraxia. Then you get Fate Extra. If that comes to the West, that's nice. It's on the PSP. And then the sort of the Fate Extra CCC, which has a lot of important characters and stuff introduced, Japan exclusive.
Hmm.
And, and Fate Grand Order references a lot of the stuff from CCC, which you just don't see.
Yep.
But it looks like they've been better about moving things over to the West.
They are vaguely realizing that, yeah, maybe this could do okay in the West. Maybe now that
Yeah.
we have like 10 fucking million players of FGO, like pissing away all their money to buy these servants. Maybe I guess we could try translating some of that stuff.
Yeah, get the game that actually has the correct characterization for like two characters that just get flanderized in the other games they appear in. That'd be nice.
Hmm. Yeah.
Tamamo has suffered so much. Same with Nero.
Isn't Tomomo kind of a weird one though, because her whole thing is like that that was a character that the writer of that character was very protective of, is my understanding.
Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure on certain on the situation with Tamamo specifically, like the writer, but I do know that um, a lot of the Tamamo you see in FGO is post development of Extra,
Yeah.
which again, it's hard for people to understand that character if you don't actually see the development. Same with Nero, post development. So they just come across as very flat a lot of the time because they've already had their character arcs essentially.
Mm.
That's why FGO will just create new versions that they can then create character arcs for without
I
harming
can
the
see the
original.
appeal there. That makes sense.
Mm. Like, it's basically they did the same thing they did for Emiya. You know, he went through all his character development in Fate Stay Night, whatever addendum that title has to it, and now he is post development and he is just like chill, more or less.
Yep.
Like,
he's just chill.
We get it for him because we were allowed to see that character development. But yeah.
But anybody who like hasn't played Extra is gonna have a very skewed opinion of like those two characters because, I mean, you have to have owned a PSP and gone the game, and even that it's the game doesn't exactly play great. Not gonna lie, it's just rock paper scissors.
Oh, so it's FGO.
Order. I mean, it is the basis upon which FGO is built upon. Though changed a bit. Like those characters' animations are brought straight over from Extra.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going on a bit of a tangent here.
Yeah. So, you know, that's cool. We're pretty much wrapping up now, I think.
Yeah.
It is October. Do we have the thing done?
Yes.
Patreon. I kind of need to pee so I could do this. Kidding.
Let me bring it up real quick. All right. Hold on. They keep constantly updating Patreon. Like they ruined the logo for it recently.
Great.
Yeah, it's better than the old logo, by which I mean the second one.
Apparently, they have their own Discord-esque chatting service now.
All right, so thank you to our patrons, Rehitsia21, Sailor of House Thunderbird, Vale, Greek Guy, Ethan F, Crossbrain, and Troper37. You all are awesome.
Yeah.
We appreciate your support immensely.
Yeah. I really Okay, so thanks for listening and stuff. Discord link in the description, Patreon link in the description if you feel like it. No pressure. But bye everybody.
Bye.
No pressure to join Patreon, but there is pressure in my bladder, so I need to go. Bye everybody.
That's
Bye.
fair. Bye. See ya. Thank you.
Yeah.